All right. Bottom 9. Reds lead 3-1 over the Colorado Rockies. Nick, we've got a lot of things to talk about to a certain extent. Brandon Williamson's probably the topic A, as you have on the rundown. But first things first, Diaz has to come in and close this thing out.
Yeah. What a night. What a game. I not expecting a 3-1 game here going to the bottom of the ninth, that's for sure. Don't ever listen to my betting advice. Like the first time. I think it's the first time I put a betting advice out publicly on the Reds all year, so.
Well, that's how it usually goes. You get hotter than a firecracker, then you're like, you know what? I'm gonna put something out on Twitter, let everybody know how hot I am, and you will ice cold after that. All right. I think we're synced up pretty nicely. I can kind of hear Sadak. Not now, but right before we came on, I heard Sadak. I think we're lined up pretty good. So here goes nothing.
Set the pitch. That's where I'm at. First pitch.
Damn, I hate to be ahead of you.
Is what it is. It is what it is, Trace.
Sir Boy's on me. Sir Boy, just tell the truth, brother. I just call it how I see it, man.
What a pitch. What a pitch.
Let's get this first out. That's a good pitch. Man. Tell you what, the pitch clock, it doesn't mess around some nights, dude. If guys are getting guys out, it's like we're pushing 2-hour baseball game.
When it was in the 7th, I was like, "Oh man, we might be going on here by 10:30 at this rate."
That's a good pitch. All right,
1 down,
1 away. What do you think the fastest game this year will be? You think we'll hit sub 2 hours? 2 hours?
Yeah, I think so.
It's just one time. Just gotta get hot one night.
Yeah. Has it already happened? What's the?
I don't think it's happened yet. Not to my knowledge.
I think there was one that was close. There's 2.
Tell you what, the amount of space you have trying to get stuff in cameras with your fingers, with your
it's a really
it's tough. I mean,
where am I at?
Yeah, not too sure what do you do with your hands. All right, challenge him. Just challenge him. See how far you can hit it, as they say.
Moose.
See how far you can hit it.
Moose.
That a baby. Throw it right down the middle.
Yeah.
Let's go. A little roll over from Fat Boy. All right. That was fun. Pretty quick.
Boom.
Pretty easy. We got a show to do. And let's do it.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurel Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did. They did. Reds win. Reds win. Line to the right field. Judges the first run ever with 4 home runs in a game.
All right, Nick. Reds win 3-1 against the Colorado Rockies. They moved to 19 wins on the year, tied with the Chicago Cubs, who are looking to make the playoffs. Perhaps, is what I've been told, this season. So, just saying, we're climbing up the standings. Not even trying to. You know what? We're just gonna call it a year where we're just gonna work on our prospects, try to see what we got going into next year. And we're just accidentally running into standing climbing season, as they say. I don't know if that's a thing, but I just made it up. Nick, hopefully you're doing well. But you got the box score recap. Hopefully it's not 9 pages long like it was last night. Shouldn't be.
No, only 4 paragraphs. Let's roll. Let's ride. All right, Brandon Williamson got through 5 shutout innings in his major league debut, only threw 56 pitches to get through 5 innings at Coors Field. Score was 0-0 going to the bottom of the 6th. Brandon Williamson struck out the first batter, but then he did give up a solo home run to Ezequiel Tovar. Tovar was a top 25 prospect in all of baseball entering the season. Williamson rebounded, got Charlie Blackmon to ground out, but then he walked Jurickson Profar. His night was over. Derek Law came in, gave up a double off the wall, but I think a really crucial play in this game, as our guy Reds4 pointed out. Stuart Fairchild got to the ball quickly. Stuart Fairchild playing center field tonight, made a really strong relay, held Profar at third base. Derek Law then struck out Randall Grichuk to end the inning. Brandon Williamson's final line in his major league debut, 5 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. How about that? Top 7, Jake Fraley led off with a single, and then Spencer Steer, he smoked the ball 107.5 off the bat. Fortunately, right at the shortstop, and Fraley was doubled off. But Trace, these Cincinnati Reds, they don't hang their heads.
No, they don't, Nick.
Tyler Stevenson walked, and then Nick Senzel crushed a home run 429 feet.
How far?
429 feet to put the Reds up 2-1. And then Matt McLean came up to the plate in the 8th inning with 2 outs and a runner on second base. McLean had struck out in all 3 of his at-bats, but he singled home pinch runner Kevin Newman, put the Reds up 3-1. The combination of Derek Law, Alex Young, Ian Jabot, and Alexis Diaz were nails, Trace.
Nails.
No runs. Your Cincinnati Reds, they win 3-1. Reds' 13th comeback win of the year. The Reds end a 4-game losing streak at Coors Field, 19-23, as you said, on the season. Reds are just 2 games out of a wild card spot at the moment.
How many?
Just 2 back.
2.
2 even.
Tell you what, that Oakland loss really burns my ass.
All year, man. All year.
I'm going to bring that up every single time I can, from now until never. Brandon Williamson. I don't know what else there is to be said about the guy that hasn't been said already on Twitter. For those that are catching this in the morning that might not have got a chance to watch the game, first time I've really got a chance to see Williamson pitch at length. I've seen a little bit of his highlights, obviously, through the MILB and just kind of the things that I see through Bryce on Twitter. You know, not an overpowering kind of guy. He's not really throwing high velo, but he was spotting his pitches relatively well. He's got a new cutter, Nick, that seems to be working, to say the least. Interesting enough, I don't know if you caught this during the game, but Sadak, or maybe it was Jim Day, I'm not sure. I should probably remember for the next time I shout one of those guys out. I had mentioned that he felt like he had found something in Iowa right before he went out, and he got shellacked, oddly enough, during the game, that he felt like he figured it all out. But then his next 2 starts was much better, and then obviously tonight, probably if you asked Brandon before the game started what he would be willing to accept, I don't even think he would have been as greedy as what his line was tonight. Your overall thoughts of Brandon, and then we'll obviously have some fun with the chat and move it along.
Yeah, I'm sure Brandon Williamson, if he would have got through 6 innings, allowed 3 runs, he'd been like, sign me up. I'll take that at Coors Field. I mean, just what a performance. Only had one walk going into that 6th inning. I mean, attack the hitters. There was no fear. That's been his biggest problem was walks. But
control.
He attacked the Rockies. Look, does this mean Brandon Williamson is the next big thing? No, absolutely not. But he changed the narrative on him in a matter of hour and 15 minutes. This guy was a complete bust, a waste. I even said they should probably try to move him to the bullpen. I gotta keep making bold predictions because I'm wrong on everything this year. But yeah, I mean, just a great performance from him. Surely the Reds are going to give him another start. I don't know how you'd send him down. And hey, maybe the Reds sometimes know a little more than us. Maybe they saw the cutter. Maybe they said, hey, this might be a good spot to bring him up. Let's see what happens. It sure worked tonight.
I think there's something to be said about a guy that you're high on that starts to struggle a little bit, and they're losing their. I don't know when to say they're losing all their confidence, but they lose their confidence a little bit. As kind of backwards as this feels or seems at times, I almost think that, not to say that I'm not giving the Reds credit by any means, the front office, and not trying to take anything away from him. Maybe they seen something and they knew this was in him, and that's exactly why they brought him up. But I also think there's this notion or the idea that is like, okay, we're kind of losing this guy. He's not throwing the ball well. He's stuck here at the AAA level. Let's just throw a shock to the system and just bring him up for a game, a spot start. You're not really in a tough spot already. It's not like there's this clad lock on this starting rotation where there's just no holes. There's holes everywhere at this point. So they just say, you know what? Let's throw caution to the wind, bring him up, see what happens, and maybe he finds some success, and the next thing you know, he just sticks, because it's just weird how baseball works, and it's weird how life works. I don't know if it's the perfect analogy, but I think that there's some. And this is a terrible analogy. The more I think about it, but the truth is that some kids or some people struggle in high school when it comes to grades, and then you get to college and it's supposed to be harder, but it just feels a little bit different, and you start to get a little comfortable, and the next thing you know, college is just easier than high school was for whatever reason. It's not supposed to be that way, but it just is. And again, I don't want to go completely off the rails here. It's one start, and I don't want to sit here and act like he's going to be a guaranteed bona fide starter for this rotation moving forward. However, I do feel as if tonight he looked calm. He looked composed. He certainly didn't look like it was his major league debut. And for a guy that has control problems at the minor league level, certainly tonight didn't look that way. Shout out to John Thomas in the chat. He had brought up the fact, and it's true, that he fell down 3-0 multiple times, and he fought his way all the way back and got out. So, so shout out to him, man. I don't know what else there is to say. Like I said at the beginning, he threw about as well as you could have hoped in 5 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. He did give up the home run, but was very efficient with his pitches. It wasn't even like he got up there in pitch count. I feel like, give David Bell a lot of credit too for kind of having some feel in this. Something I've always kind of somewhat complained about. I think he had some feel for the situation. You kind of feel like maybe it was unraveling a little bit for him. I thought we caught a little bit of a break with Derek Law coming in. That ball got absolutely torched. It was hit so hard the guy couldn't score from first base. But the credit to Derek Law for getting out of it after that. So huge shout out to Brandon Williamson, and should be hopefully a positive thing going forward for him.
Can't be a negative, that's for sure. No, I mean, adding on to your point, I think what you said is kind of true, and adding on to that a little bit, look, you have Andrew Abbott, who's pitched as good as you possibly could pitch in AA and AAA. This is a terrible spot to make your major league debut at Coors Field. Brandon Williamson has been terrible for 2 years. You throw him up here, are you really going to hurt his confidence if he comes out and gets shelled? Like, there's no confidence. But the flip side is he comes out, he shoves. All of a sudden, that guy's feeling like he's on top of the world right now. Whereas, you bring up Andrew Abbott, he struggles. It's not going to mess the guy up. It's not going to ruin his career or anything. But, some of that momentum and stuff that he's built this year could be, just take it back a little bit. So, hey, it worked. It was great. And, let's see what Williamson could do. just I don't know. What a great start. Awesome for him. Awesome for his family. Like, just that's what makes baseball great.
It is, yeah. Yeah, that was really cool for his I assume that was his mother up there in the top right-hand corner of the fan group there, and she was just, man, she was on top of the world, man. You could just tell she was absolutely fired up for her son, and good for, good for that entire group of people that got to go there, and they, even in their wildest dreams, they probably didn't think it was going to go that great. All right, moving forward through the game, Nick Senzel steps up, hits a big 2-run home run. It felt like this offense needed a spark, and you were just waiting on something to hopefully happen. But it also kind of felt like at times that it might have just been one of those nights where you might not score a run. But Nick Senzel, this is a guy that's making things very difficult, if you will, and or interesting. I think this is the biggest surprise of the season. I think this is an opportunity now to say, you know what? We got a tweet, which I'm going to give this guy's name out in a second, asking us to have a little bit of a discussion here in regards to Nick. I don't want to spend too much time on like the what ifs of the world. If he would have never gotten moved, and if he stayed at third base his whole career, would it have gone as great as it has gone this year? I don't know. I mean, we've already talked about that a little bit, Nick, and I'll let you kind of hit on that as well. But my main point with Nick at this point is we can't move him. We shouldn't move him. I know we have a logjam of infielders. I know Senzel can technically play the outfield, but I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I don't think that's fair to Nick Senzel, to be fair. I don't think it's fair to ask him to move to the outfield when he plays third base as well as he has. It's not even that he's quote unquote making the plays. He looks great over there. I mean, he genuinely looks great for a guy that hasn't played that position in a long, long time. I don't know if you could have asked of anyone to play the position as good as he has for taking that long of a break. So I am incredibly impressed with Senzel. It'll be interesting to see what this team, and I say team, I should say front office, does with him, because Nick, I'll let you fill in. I don't think they had him in their plans at all.
No chance. No chance. I mean, they pretty much almost said, he's going to be a utility player this year. Like, and the Reds are usually very optimistic about their guys. The words I heard weren't all that optimistic this offseason about him, but he's been awesome. He's got OPS almost at 800 right now. Looked incredible at third base. Yeah, he's making some difficult situations. We all know what they're going to have to do. We know the move you're going to have to make to fit players in this infield. I'm not getting into that tonight, but we know what it is. And right now, I mean,
not happening, Nick. Just stop.
I mean, right now, I don't think you can move him. I mean, at some point you might have to. But I mean, you can play him there. You can play Elliott shortstop. You can play McLean at second. You can play Steer at first. You can DH CES. I mean, the real problem's going to be if Votto comes back.
Listen. I don't want to spend too much time on Votto, but before we move on to the Barrera situation, let's touch on that for just a second. But continue your thoughts if you have any.
I mean, yeah. I think you keep him at third base right now. I can't even. Honestly, I feel so stupid even saying that because I can't even believe I'm saying that because I just wrote this guy off. But
right.
Don't mess with the success in this season. Maybe if the Reds' chances of winning the World Series were higher than 2% right now. Okay, maybe you force guys into tougher spots to get your absolute 100% best lineup on the field, but right now just ride the success and see where it takes you.
Joseph Votto. I'm actually repping Joey tonight, so for those that want to act like what I'm about to say sounds too harsh, I don't mean it that way. At this point with Joey Votto in his career, I am just begging the baseball gods that we just get a send-off. That's all I'm asking anymore. Can we get 2 weeks of Joey Votto to where he gets to play in front of the fan base and we get to send him off the way that we all would hope? He's had an unbelievable career here. Not trying to be too pessimistic about it, but the more you think about it, his age combined with the injury that he had, it's not easy healing from that, let alone just, I mean, when I say healing from it, it's not easy healing from that just in everyday life to where you don't notice it or feel like it's somewhat of an issue. You tack on that with the fact that you got to be a professional athlete and a Major League Baseball player at his age, the chances are slim to none. It doesn't mean that, you know, that I'm not rooting for him, but I think you're being really, really, really overly optimistic if you think he's going to come back and be a player. I hate that for us. I hate that for him, but that's the facts. And sometimes you got to look in the mirror, and sometimes you just got to understand what's in front of you. And we as a fan base should just hope and pray we get Joey Votto for 2 weeks and we live with it. I don't think Joey's. Do you think Joey has a chance to come back and actually play every day, like as a meaningful player?
Maybe in a platoon role. I mean, yeah, I can see something like that. I don't want anyone else to get hurt, but I kind of hope when, you know, if he is healthy at some point, that there's kind of an open spot at first base or DH, and it's not something where it becomes a very uncomfortable situation for everyone. Like let's just say in 2 weeks the Reds call up Christian Encarnacion Strand and he's raking and there's no other injuries and Ellie's up too. Then it's kind of where you're playing everyone. But a lot of times these things, they, like I say a million times, they sort themselves out. So we're probably getting ahead of ourselves because the Reds really haven't had a position player injury this year other than Will Myers for like a week. And then, you know, Votto before the season. So it's a numbers game. It happens at some point. You know, we said it with the starting pitching, and look, Aladola's on the IL. It happens at some point, but I really hope that would be the just a awful thing to happen this year, is if we kind of have a situation where it becomes just in the long run, it won't matter. Like if this happens like with all kinds of players at the back end of their career, and in 2 years you forget that it even happened, right?
Yeah, Michael Jordan's a pretty decent example.
Yeah.
Brett Favre's a decent example. There's a plenty, and I'm not saying Joey Votto's going to be those guys, but like, you know, it'll all just, as you said, wash away in regards to how it all ended. But it doesn't. I guess my main point is like, Joey's the kind of guy that I think is so selfless in a way that he legitimately would just walk away. And I guess selfishly as a fan base, I just want him to come, even though he might suck, and give me like 3 games. I know he might not even feel like he can play, but I don't care. Just go out there, let us root and give you the standing ovation you deserve, and move on. All right, I didn't want to spend too much time on that, but I felt like it was something we haven't touched on in a long, long time. He got moved to the 60-day. It's kind of starting to be a pretty clear picture. Barrero, what do we do? I see the chat. They're all popping off. They're asking millions of questions, and I say we don't need to have all those answers right now. But we need to have some type of solution with Barrero. Just because he sat 2 games, I'm not going to go too crazy at this moment, trying to figure out exactly what the plan is with him. Kevin Newman's obviously still on the roster, so you have to ask what we're going to do with him. Newman did come in pinch run, but that's just because his sprint speed's, you know, like you've said before, he's got actually some pretty decent sprint speed on the base paths, and he scored. So another good shout out to David Bell, making a good move there in game. So, but as far as Barrero goes, I don't know. I really don't know. I think McLean looks great at shortstop. He really does. I mean, he's not made a ton of plays, but the ones that he has made, he's looked very comfortable and he looks fluid. So I don't really want to move him, if we're being completely honest. I don't know. I really don't want to do this again because it just seems like we just do this every night with the whole where do you put somebody, and you think that they're going to do something with India, and that's just not going to happen. Not going to happen, man.
I mean, he didn't play on Sunday either. Newman started, so that's 3 games in a row.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He sat, so I'm just, why is he up here? Demote him and at least get this guy some at bats. The only thing I can think of, I think of this a little bit more, is they're going to give him maybe a run in center field, but they didn't want to do it in Coors Field. That could obviously it doesn't take a lot of thinking to realize that could go very bad. Maybe he starts like 2 of the 3 games in center field at Great American Ballpark this week in a much more manageable center field.
Yeah.
But I don't even understand, like, if he's staying on this roster. Like, you look at the lineup today, they had Stevenson DHing, so that kind of makes sense why, there really was no spot for him today if, you're playing India at second base, all that kind of stuff. But yesterday, like, Henry Ramos was the DH. Do we really want to give at-bats to Henry Ramos
I agree.
over Jose Barrero? Like, that's the kind of thing that I'm just not really understanding. And I don't know, maybe the only thing I think is he's going to play center field, and they're just waiting till they get out of Denver. But I don't like this guy just sitting on the end of the bench.
In a bad way, Nick, we're half in, half out. That's kind of the crappy part about it. I feel like we kind of like we are doing right now on the field what we have discussed off air at times about what our concern would be with this front office if we ever get to a position where we're over exceeding expectations, or we're in a position where we're going to make the playoffs and you start to try to leverage your future on making one big splash or 2 big splashes. It feels like this lineup on an everyday basis is we're half in, we're half out, And what I mean by that is like we're trying to play the best guys that we think are going to win the game, but we also holistically from a season perspective, and it's been said publicly by David Bell, it's been said publicly by this front office, is that we're really trying to focus on the development of these young guys. So, to a certain extent, I guess I beg the question, which is it? Because you can't sit Barrero for 3 straight games if it's about development and trying to figure out what you have. And if it's about straight winning, right, then I would argue that there's some other guys that could help us right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And if it's like completely about winning, then honestly, Kevin Newman might not be a worse option than Jose Barrero for the next like 3 weeks, and you just send Barrero down and let him get some at bats. So, yeah, that's the puzzling thing to me. I'm just fascinated to see what they do with Jose Barrero. I really hope it's not a situation where he's getting 5 and 6 at bats a week, because I just don't understand what the point of that would be.
Yeah. I see Chad in the comments talking about India. Listen, we are big India fans. Let's not be. We're going to continue to say that. I love Jonathan India. I think he's a great player. I just think that for this team and for a World Series team, he got moved to second base. Like, that's the other thing that pisses me off with this whole situation. It's like he did not come up as a second baseman. We shoved him at second base largely because we had a fat ass playing third base that made a lot of money that we felt like we needed to play at third. His name was Mike Moustakas, so he had to play there. And so instead of Jonathan India playing where he's supposed to play, then we had to move India to second base, and we just made it work because the guy was going to be the National League Rookie of the Year, and he hit the shit out of the ball. And that's what you do for guys. If they hit the ball really well, you just find somewhere to push them out there. But we're in a position now where if you watch the games and you look at any defensive metric, he's not on par with what we need to win at a high level. And we're just asking as a franchise to figure out what we need to do with him. That's all. Because it's not anything against him. I don't know why it has to be that way. It's like if we stuck Tyler Stevenson out in left field because we didn't have a place for him and he struggled a little bit, just because we want to move Tyler Stevenson back from left field to a DH and or a catcher doesn't mean we don't like the guy. It's that simple, really. I mean, I don't know if I know I didn't mince many words there, but
it's like platooning. Like it's like with Jesse Winker. If I said Jesse Winker shouldn't play against left-handed pitching, why do you hate Jesse Winker? I don't hate Jesse Winker. I love Jesse Winker. He might be the best hitter in the National League against right-handed pitching. He just can't hit left-handed pitching. There's nothing against him. Like I just want the Reds to win. Is that okay?
Yeah,
am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, Chad. We're not trying to get rid of the team leader. We're just hoping that the team leader does what's best for the team.
And India deserves some credit for
In fact, he made a hell of a
move it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'd say in 2021, taking that second base position, taking that leadoff position, taking it by the reins, and really gave that team a chance to make the playoffs. It didn't work out, but they had a chance, and it was. I think I said back then I think he was the team MVP that year, but
yeah,
it doesn't mean we can't try to find the best roster.
India made a pretty slick little play going in the hole. He didn't get the guy out at first, but he made a good play in the hole. He has sparks. He's an athlete. It's not like he's worthless over there. I'm not suggesting that by any means, but I mean that routine double play ball that gets turned 99 out of 100 times by most guys. I mean, like Spencer Sear thankfully picked it out of the dirt, but that's here nor there. Let's get into some other things that are fun to talk about. Trying to think through some things. Tyler Stevenson, nice to see him get a solid base hit. One thing
Will Myers had a hit.
Will Myers
had a hit.
Yeah, I'm glad that Will Myers got a hit. I'm very thankful for that.
I'll give you this, Trace. I'll give you this. He extended a streak of 15 straight games with a strikeout. So I give and take.
Hey, for those that love, I know Sir Boy loves the toxic trace term. Let me give 3 toxic trace things really fast that I noticed during the game that gave me a little irk. It just bothered me just a little bit. Number 1, Chris Welsh on that double play from Matt McLain to India to Steer. He said, you can't turn it any better than that. I beg to differ, Chris. I know you didn't probably mean that just you're on air, you're live, you're saying things, it just came out that way. I'm pretty sure it could have worked out. It could have been a lot cleaner than that. Second thing was Sadak said, it's really tough. It's dark. It's got a dark gray sky. I mean, the baseball is white. I mean, that's actually prime time season to be able to see a baseball is when there's dark clouds outside. You can see the baseball. It's nice and clear. Sunny day, really bright outside, white clouds, it gets a little difficult. And the last thing was McLain not taking second base. I don't know. That bothered me. That bothered me a lot. I got to be honest. But you know what? Huge shout out to Matt McLain. That was a big hit to get an insurance run, but it did bother me. He didn't get the second base. Those are the 3 things.
All right. Set the alerts.
Oh, they're already going off. In fact, at Sir Boy's house, it's basically like the firehouse. All
tornado
day
sirens are going in Goshen.
Yes, they are. Last thoughts on Barrero? He's got to play tomorrow. Where's he playing?
DH probably.
Hey,
I think I'm right too. They DH Kevin Newman, so why not Jose Barrero?
I got to be honest, man. We're going to look back at some of these lineups in a couple years. We probably won't, but if we did, we would laugh out loud about some of these. I mean, they're just it is wild what we're doing. We got Henry Ramos out here DHing. We got, I don't know. You're telling me that we're at Barrero DHing tomorrow, but I don't know, whatever. All right.
2 out of a playoff spot.
It's remarkable. Yeah, I mean, there's some people calling for Barrero to go to well, he's not saying AAA, he's calling it quadruple A. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, Barrero's got to figure out if he can stick here or not. And if he can't, I don't know. I think the Reds move him, to be honest. I think they do. And in the back of their mind, in the back of our mind, I think there's always the chance that you regret that to a certain extent. But just because you trade a guy doesn't mean that he was going to have the same success in your organization. I really do believe that. I think sometimes this whole trading value, like, oh, well, look what Luis Castillo's doing in Seattle and look what this guy's doing in Cincinnati. And it's like, that's not always a fair comparison. I think over a course of a career, you can do that. I don't think you can do that based off of one season. I mean, it's just like when people were sitting there trying to braggadociously say, look what we've done with we got CES and we got Spencer Steer for Malley, and Malley, blew his arm out. It's like, okay, well, I don't think that's really ridiculous to sit there and make the notion that now it was a good trade period, even if Malley didn't blow his arm out, but you can't use the fact that he blew his arm out as the reason as to why you fleeced them in the deal. That's absurd. But little Reds MILB or anything else to add for that?
It would have been a great trade if Tyler Malley was an all-star this year. Like, him blowing his arm out doesn't mean anything. It's just a great trade. You get that much value for a pitcher with a year and a half left. I think he did pretty well. Yeah, Reds MILB. Louisville 7-1 winners tonight, Trace, over Jacksonville. Ellie De La Cruz, 2 for 3. Walk and a stolen base.
2 for 3?
2 for 3. CES, 2 for 4 with a double. Will Benson, he did walk. We'll leave it at that. TJ Hopkins, 1 for 4, hit his 6th home run of the year. And I just have to throw this in here because my guy Ricky Karcher threw 2 scoreless innings. Nice. Great to see Ricky.
The bat's only giving up 1 run is a very, 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 very rare thing. What happened? I mean, what?
I don't even know who the guy starting was. I legit think they picked up a guy that started tonight. I think I saw it off from independent ball. Minor league baseball's stupid sometimes.
Yeah. That's wild.
It was not. I mean, they don't really have any good pitching left down there. But yeah, 7-1 winners tonight. Ellie and CES continue to break.
Love it.
Chattanooga, 12-6 winners tonight. Nelvi Marte, 1 for 4 with a walk and a stolen base. Reese Hines hit his 3rd home run of the season. Dayton Dragons, they were no hit tonight at home. Lost 6-0 to Fort Wayne. Edwin Arroyo did steal a base, though. I think he reached on an error or something. I'm not sure, but he was 0 for 4. No walks, so that's your highlight of the day, and Edwin Arroyo's stolen base. The Tortugas, they lost 2-1. Only really notable performance, Carlos Jorge continues to rake 2 for 4 with a double and a stolen base. And that is your Reds MILB presented by Betfred Sportsbook. Love it.
There was a question in the chat. I believe it came. Who did it come from here? Man, chat's moving too fast at times for me to keep up. I think the question was who leaves when TJ Friedel comes back? I think the answer.
Who's healthy?
I think the answer in my estimation is going to be Ramos. Seems fair, right?
If it was tomorrow, yeah, probably.
Fairchild actually has like some value. I think defensively, he's got some speed.
They really like him too, and he crushes left-handed pitching, so he helps keep the lineup, I think, a little balanced.
Yeah, for Fraley, when Fraley's not able to be a big bopper in the middle of that lineup, Stuart Fairchild offers a little bit of grace there with a left-handed pitcher. So I don't think that they'll take him off. I don't know. I know Fred's not a big Fairchild fan. I don't know, guys. I mean, listen, a lot of these guys, if we're being completely frank, aren't anything to write home about. At the same time, I don't know. I don't want to say it doesn't matter. We're competing, right? We're a professional franchise. You'd like to think that we're. I don't want to get away from this notion that winning doesn't matter either. I think it does matter. So we want the best guys in there. This bullpen, though, I don't want to keep on slying on these guys, dude. Just freaking keep on going out there and shoving. I don't understand what this is all about. I don't know how we got this lucky, but maybe this bullpen's that good. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it should be this good, but it is. So here we are.
I think they were due for some positive regression too after the last 2 years where just so many. So I feel like the last couple of years, Reds had some good projects that just didn't work out. Like Sino Perez is one who just like had great stuff, didn't work out for the Reds, went somewhere else, and it clicked in Baltimore for him. I think they were just due for some positive regression the other way, and here we are. They're pitching incredible.
All right, let's see what else we got in the chat here. Reed Mouse has made his way in here. I don't know why he would do such a thing when they're
I see one
playoff-bound
telling me to
Chicago Cubs have only got 19 wins this year. What else we got here?
I see one here.
Go ahead.
Sir Boy said we better be drafting a pitcher in the first round of June. Yeah, I mean, I would think like if you have like a starting pitcher, maybe a college arm that is a good value at where the Reds picked, then I think that would make sense, kind of like a Lodolo type. But I'm always, Sir Boy, going to be best available. I don't care if it's high school, I don't care if it's college, and I think the Reds, they got to be in this mindset all the time with just about almost everything they do as an organization to keep the Reds from the valleys.
Yeah. What a bad quote that was when he said that. I was just amazed. That was just one of those blunders. You have blunders in life sometimes. You say things you don't mean. And that was one.
He's been on a good run though. He's really I think our boy NK, the other Nick NK, I think he got some PR schooling, and he's been I feel like all his interviews have been well spoken, and
Wow.
yeah, hasn't given the haters anything in a while. So
I didn't know they had PR schooling for the Cincinnati Reds. It did that seems like an area that they lack significantly in, if we're being completely frank. They must have beefed up. They must have beefed up in that department in the offseason. I'm just saying. All right, guys. What else is there to talk about before we head home and call tonight? What a win. What a win. I tell you what, man. This team, don't let them hang around too long. You got to get rid of. We feel like we're that 15 seed right now. We're not a 16 seed. We're not that bad. Maybe a 15. One would argue a 14 seed. We're just hanging around. Don't let us get to that second media timeout in the second half, and it be a call it a 4-point game. Don't let that happen. Just because they call these young bucks up, and you might just accidentally run into some studs. Ellie De La Cruz, okay, he's coming. He's coming. I don't know when it's happening, but if you took out his 1 for 21 start or 1 for 20 start, and I know that's not always fair to do. You can't always just cherry pick stats. But if you took out his first, call it handful of games, 6-7 games, this dude's hitting, his slash line is going to be absurd. And on top of that, he's breaking records. His I don't want to say his StatCast, but basically his analytics and StatCast stuff is just off the charts. It's actually hilarious how ridiculous it is. It's like, okay, he literally has the strongest arm in all of minor league baseball, basically. He has the 3 hardest hit balls in the StatCast era ever. And then on top of that, his sprint speed is in like the 90-some-odd percentile. What outside of pitching, what else do you want this guy to do? Maybe he could pitch too, but just saying.
Yeah, he legit could be the best player on the planet. That's not hyperbole. He could be the single best player in the sport on planet Earth. And he's close. He's coming soon to a ballpark near you.
He's a guy I'd like to obviously be able to see in person here relatively soon, and I guess that would require a trip to Louisville more than likely. But I just I wonder what happens there. I mean, is he a shortstop or not? I don't know, but I don't know. Tell you what, this whole shortstop thing, buddy. I'm glad Nick Rawls got it. I'm glad that's not my job, man. Just saying.
Calm down. Shohei Ohtani's only got a couple more years left.
Yeah.
He's what? How old is Ohtani?
Ohtani?
28. I thought he was older than that. Yeah.
What? Shohei? Shohei's a pretty good player.
Yeah, he's decent.
Pretty good player.
Decent. Didn't show up on Sunday though when I saw him. My first time ever seeing him, and he looked rough. Disappointed.
Oh, this chat. All right, I think we've met our match here with the end of the night. Tomorrow, Nick, where do we play, and who's pitching?
All right, 3:10 tomorrow. Reds Rockies at Coors Field. Graham Ashcraft has never faced the Rockies before. Never faced anyone even on the Rockies. One interesting stat on Graham Ashcraft: he has not allowed a hit in the first inning of each of his last 5 starts. That even includes that White Sox start. Just kind of interesting note how he's strong out of the gates. Austin Gomber will be going for the Rockies. Not having a good year. He's really struggled. A guy they got from the Cardinals that they were hoping for. He was part of the Nolan Arenado return. Does have a career 2.70 ERA in 16 2/3 innings against the Reds. But the last appearance was back in 2020. And Gomber, I don't know if you remember this, Trace, he made his major league debut against the Reds back in 2018, took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, and then a fire alarm went off and messed it up, and the Reds came back and won the game. And also, fun fact on Austin Gomber, his wife, Rachel, is a social media content creator. And Trace, we need to get some tips from her because she has 551,000 followers on TikTok. There you go.
Wow.
The more you know.
The more you know.
You didn't expect that, did you?
No.
Didn't expect the TikTok stats.
No.
But here we are.
You did not. I did not expect that. And I said something else that we were going to do in this show that I would be remiss not to do. It's going to require me to come up with something as fast as I can, which is this. You ready for it?
I'm ready. Dialed in.
Now, it's not going to be that hard of a question, but I want you to tell me all of the numbers that are available to an infielder or a position player, for that matter, or a pitcher, I guess. Any player. Let's just say that. Any player that is a single-digit number for the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, so one's retired. Someone has 2, right? Someone weird has 2.
Right now, you have to tell me every player that is currently playing, what their number is, a single digit, and or if it's available, if it's retired.
I'm so bad at this.
Come on. You got to know who number 2 is.
McLean's 9.
Okay, we're going to do it.
Oh, two's Barrero.
Okay.
That was surprising to me. I remember seeing that the other night.
Okay.
So 1 was Fred Hutchinson. 5 is Johnny Bench. 4 was Matt Reynolds, who took over 4.
Oh, he's a stud. He's a stud. I tell you what, his OPS is going to be high at the end of the year, guaranteed.
Oh, it's Will Myers.
Oh, that's it. Yep, you got it.
All right.
So obviously Johnny Bench, and then you got 6.
6.
Is 6 available?
6 is, I think 6 is available, isn't it?
6 is available.
7's not available. Who is 7?
6 is India, by the way.
Oh, 6 is India. Okay. So 7's available.
7's not available. 7. We got a 7.
Come
on, Nick. Man. You watch this team every damn night, man. Every night. Do you not see their uniforms?
7 is Spencer Steer.
Ah, thank the Lord. Number 8?
Joe Morgan.
All right, good. We're back on
and number
track.
9. Number 9 is Matt McLean.
And number 10, just for fun? Putting you on the spot here.
Is there an active player with 10?
Come on, Nick. Nick, I've just found out one thing about you.
You
are a guy. Now, just listen to me. You are a guy that is as knowledgeable as anybody. I mean, when I talk to people, you know 40-man roster guys. You know who they've drafted the last 5 years. You know all of this stuff, okay? But you don't know numbers for damn shit. You literally started off by telling me that Fred Hutchinson was number 1. You then proceeded to forget that Jose Barrero was number 2. You then realize, number 3 was available. You forgot Will Myers was number 4. You did get Johnny Bench, so kudos to you. You forgot Jonathan India was number 6. You took a while to get Spencer Steer at number 7. You did get Joe Morgan at number 8. You did get Matt McClain. That's because it literally happened yesterday. And now we're sitting on number 10, and you can't tell me who number 10 is for the Cincinnati Reds.
It's not Tyler Stevenson.
There is not. It's retired, Nick. It's retired. Nick.
10. I have no idea who number 10.
I'll tell you this: he didn't platoon for shit because he didn't need to. 1 and 2, he probably didn't use computers because I don't know if they even had them back then. I'm giving you the answer, Nick. You can't take it from me.
What position do you play?
Chat, I'll tell you, let's have some fun with Nick because this is ridiculous, if we're being honest. Let's just give him a hint. Don't give him a minute. Don't tell him. Just give him what else can we tell him that might? I feel like we can't tell him that, Sir Boy, yet because that's just clearly obvious. But maybe like something else we could tell him that's Detroit Tigers.
David Bell? No, Sparky Anderson.
Thank you.
Sparky Anderson was obvious?
I feel like, yeah. Dude, the Cincinnati Reds have celebrated these guys every other weekend for the last 30 years. I have sat around, okay, Nick, and I've had to listen about the big red machine this and the big red machine that. I'm 30-something, I don't even know, 33, 34 years old. I've never witnessed the big red machine. I've never had an opportunity to enjoy the big red machine. I want my big red machine. I'm sick and tired of hearing about him. It doesn't mean I don't respect him. It doesn't mean I don't like him. I don't care about him anymore. I've heard about him enough. I see their statues. I see everything there is about him. They run out posters every single night. They run out bobbleheads every other weekend. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I want a team out there that I can root for, that I can be proud of, not some yesteryear bullshit that the Cubs do. That's what the Cubs do, okay? They hang out on stuff of yesteryear. That's what they do. That's what losers do.
Okay. Hey, Fred in the chat points out Ed Tobinsey was number 10. So there was like an actual player that has wore number 10 in my lifetime. It's not like Johnny Bench where 5 was retired and Joe Morgan 8 was retired and no one used it since. There was literally a catcher that wore number 10. So I don't think Sparky was as obvious. I don't. I think the fact that I miss India is more embarrassing than I miss Sparky. I will give you that. India, I should have known that. I've disrespected Jonathan all night, so it's really
they retired it in 2005.
He's a manager. He wore a jacket half the time. He didn't even show off his number. Come on.
Hey, chat, you ready for this? You ready for this?
What? Hey, what number?
No. Let's put Kirby.
What number's David Bell?
Let's put Kirby.
David Bell?
25.
What number's David?
25. Ooh, just like that. Ripped it right off the top of my head. 25. Nick, you know why? Because I watch the games. I pay attention. And you know what else I noticed? You just told me the biggest thing I needed to hear, which was that the manager isn't that big of a deal. That's what I just heard. He wears a jacket over there. He just wears a jacket over there. Ain't no big deal.
I don't think the manager is that big of a deal. What if I said the manager's a big deal?
All right, maybe okay, fair enough. I'm here for it.
I think we over evaluate. We over.
What do you think of managers' worth then?
I think the saying where managers can lose games but not really win them is pretty actually accurate. I know that sounds like so cliche. I think a really bad manager, man, you can cost a lot of games, but I don't really know how many extra games like a good manager can actually help win a team. I think you can screw things up though, for sure.
Oh man.
2012.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, chat. I love the fact that I've gotten this toxic trace thing. I'm going to eat that alive. I'm not even a guy that's going to go out and say things I don't believe just because I want to take. I'm not Skip Bayless. I'm just going to tell you how I truly feel. That's the facts. If you don't like the fact that 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 I'm about sick and tired of hearing about the Big Red Machine, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. In fact, I'm going to go grab one more thing. Hold on. You talk to the people for 5 seconds, and I'll be back, and then we're going to wrap this show up. Ready, set, go.
Break. What's up, Chad? How we doing? Joe Oliver allowing McClain to wear number 9, which, you know what, that's the kind of the classy guy that Joe Oliver is. Steve Cashman, thank you for watching tonight. Appreciate you. I don't think not knowing Sparky's a big deal. I think that's weird. I don't care about numbers. I'm sorry. Anyone got any questions? No, just gonna make fun of me. I'm good. Kirby, talk about CSE. This is play discipline. Yeah, Evan brings up a good point. I know Aram Layton, who's I think the best prospect evaluator of a writer out there. Guy that had Matt McClain in the top 100 this season before the season started when no one else did. So shout out to Arms. Talked on the podcast today about CES only having 2 walks this season. Chase rate's really high. I mean, I think that's a concern. I think that's something that the Reds should be preaching for him to work on. But I also think it might get to a point where he's going to have to be challenged more in the big leagues, and because I think he can get away with a lot of that bad chase rate in the minors a lot more than he'll be able to get away with in the big league. So it could be a real concern, but I think you might have to find out how big of a concern it is at the big league level here at some point. But he's only played 20 games so far at AAA, so I think he's close, but I don't know. McClain played, 34, so he could be, 10 games away or so. Welcome back, Trace.
Talking to
myself.
I got something bad. I'm gonna have to find out. I'm gonna have to find what I was looking for next show. And when I show you what it is, you're gonna be disappointed in me. I don't know where it's at. I hope it's
a Sparky Anderson jersey.
I don't know where it's at, man.
I got a Sparky Anderson bronze statue. I have to see if it has a number on the back of it.
If it does, you've never looked at it.
Must have been too blent in.
I love you, Nick. All right.
I hope people don't think we actually hate each other.
If they do, it's better for the show.
That is true.
All right. I got nothing, man. I'm pissed off at myself. I had something good to show you, and I just can't find it. What a shame. What a ridiculous shame I am. This is the lowest moment I've ever had on this show. And I've had some low moments. When I show you what I was trying to find that I couldn't find it, I don't know where it's at. It's bad.
Well, Trace, the good news is we still got about 120 more shows this year, so I think we'll be good.
That is true.
You'll work it in.
I'll find a time to do it. All right, chat. We always do this. I mean this sincerely. I know you have fun. I know you want to sit here and you want to say that I am toxic, and that is fine by me. I like it. I'm cool with it. Nick doesn't know anybody's numbers, but he does know everything else about him, so that is a positive. But more importantly, I appreciate you watching this show. The fact that there's this many people watching, I say this a lot. I know it's a broken record, but I genuinely mean this. Our show's growing, man. I mean, we got a good amount of people that watch this show. We have a lot of people that download this podcast. I don't know 100% why, and I'm going to continue to maybe not try to figure that out because we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully it continues to grow. We have fun. We're fans. We like to be knowledgeable at times. But more importantly, we like to have fun with you, and you make this possible. Our chat is fun. It makes this whole thing enjoyable. So as Sirboy is asking everybody to do, please do us a favor. Like the stream. The fact that we got 31 likes, that's pretty damn good. I ain't going to lie to you. That's pretty good. Pretty damn good. If you're listening to this in the morning, you're probably not because Nick cut it already. But if you are listening to this in the morning, thank you for listening, and we appreciate you. So more or less, as always, tomorrow off the bench, Thom Brennaman will be in. I do believe he's going to run through his top 5. Don't hold me to this. His top 5 favorite ballparks, and I also believe that he is going to do a buy or sell on the Cincinnati Reds tomorrow. So it will be interesting to see what kind of topics they come up with, what kind of questions they come up with. They'll probably be bad because they're probably coming from a Cubs fan, but that's irrelevant. You know why? Because the Reds have 19 wins. And you know who else has 19 wins? The playoff-bound Chicago Cubs that won 2 World Series in the last 250 years. The lovable losers that aren't really lovable. The team that has no chance to make the playoffs, and all they do is hire and sign up and do nothing but basically find retreads. That's not what we do here in Cincinnati. We got young bucks. We got Matt McClain. We got CES. We got Ellie De La Cruz. We got Marte. We got them all coming, and they're coming soon. Go Reds. Take care of yourself. Oh. You thought that I forgot.
I was confused.
Because I did forget. That's what happens when it's late at night. But we're going to do this again. We're going to run this back, and we're going to dunk. There's a lot of pressure on this dunk because I failed to even remember to do it. So here we go.
Oh, no.
That was Will Meyer's ass. Fucking